Right now, you're lying in a hole. Not a grave, though it might as well be. A hole in the ground 2 meters deep, 8 meters long, disguised with a styrofoam lid and a rug, and above you, American boots are crunching on the dirt. You can hear them. Heavy, confident, searching. They've been hunting you for 8 months and you're betting everything that they won't think to dig here. Welcome to the end of the line. You're Saddam Hussein, once the absolute ruler of Iraq. Now, a man with $750,000 in cash, a pistol, and a bucket for a toilet. The same guy who built 81 palaces and had 6 body doubles is now eating canned tuna in the dark, listening to footsteps that might be his death warrant. But how did you get here? That's the question. You didn't start out wanting to be a monster. You started out wanting dinner. 1937, Tikrit, Iraq. You're born in a mud hut by the Tigris River, and your first clear memory isn't your mother's face. It's the sound of your own stomach growling at 3 in the morning. Your father's gone before you can walk. Some say murdered, some say he ran off with another woman. Your stepfather is a farmer with hands like sandpaper and a temper that explodes over nothing. By age 5, you're herding sheep from dawn till dusk, and if you lose one, he beats you with date palm branches until your legs look like zebra stripes. You don't cry. That just makes him hit harder. So, you learn to lie instead. A wolf took it, you say, staring at the ground. At 10, your uncle Kairala takes you to Baghdad. He's an Arab nationalist with actual books. Hitler's Mein Kampf, Ba'ath Party pamphlets, histories of ancient Babylon. You sleep in a real bed and eat 3 meals a day, but you don't care about the comfort. You care about the books. Your uncle tells you that Iraqis aren't just Arabs, they're descendants of Nebuchadnezzar, and the British stole their oil and their pride. You absorb this like a desert absorbs rain. You join the Ba'ath Party at 14 not because you understand socialism, you don't, but because they offer brotherhood, purpose, and a chance to hurt the people who hurt people like you. You sign the membership oath in blood, cutting your finger and pressing it to paper. You're not religious, but you understand ritual. Blood means commitment. Blood means you're serious. 1959. You're 22, and they give you your first real assignment. Drive the getaway car for an assassination attempt on Prime Minister Qasim. You think this is your big break, your chance to be a hero. The plan falls apart. The gunmen miss, the guards shoot back. Your driver dies with his brains on the windshield. You take a bullet in the leg, not fatal, but enough to bleed all over the leather seats. You crawl out, drag yourself over a wall, and vanish into the Baghdad night. For the next 3 weeks, you walk across the desert with no water, drinking your own piss, eating raw lizards, hiding from police checkpoints. Your leg gets infected and swells up like a football. You consider cutting it off yourself. You make it to Syria, then Cairo. You didn't waste those 4 years in Cairo. You called it your University of Strongmen. You studied law at Cairo University on Ba'ath Party stipends, but your real teacher was President Nasser. You sat in cafes watching how he manipulated millions through radio broadcasts, how he built dams with Soviet money and bought weapons with American money. You learned, a great leader doesn't need to be loved, but he must be needed, and he must be feared. You even befriended CIA informants there, ironic, right? The country that would later drag you from a hole once thought you were a promising young man. 4 years in exile. You study law, you wait, you watch. You learn patience. Not because you want to, but because you have no choice. You practice your smile in the mirror until it looks sincere. That's what matters. The Ba'ath Party takes power in 1963, and you return to Iraq, but you're not in charge. You're just a mid-level fixer, an enforcer. The president is Abdul Salam Arif, and he doesn't trust you. Worse, the coup failed quickly, and you landed in prison. Most men would have broken, but you're Saddam. You became the dean of Ba'athist prisoners, organizing the inmates. You even staged a cinematic escape. During a bathroom break, you scaled the wall and vanished into Baghdad's labyrinth. In 1968, real opportunity arrived. Your uncle's cousin, General al-Bakr, planned a coup. You became his cleaner. That dawn, wearing military uniform and clutching a submachine gun, you stormed the presidential palace. You weren't doing politics. You were taking over a company, violently. Good instincts, honestly. You spend the next 5 years building a network. Cousins from Tikrit, childhood friends, anyone who owes you a favor. You create the Jihaz Hanin, the special apparatus, a secret police force that answers only to you. You learn the art of interrogation. Not the Hollywood torture chamber stuff? Not yet. You prefer psychological games. You bring a prisoner into a room, offer him tea, and say, "Your friend in the next room already confessed. He said you're the spy. I'm giving you a chance to tell your side." Most of them crack immediately. The ones who don't, you remember their names? Patience, remember? You'll get them later. 1968. Another coup. This time, you're ready. You convince President Arif that his own generals are plotting against him. While he's busy purging them, you purge him. You're 31, and suddenly, you're vice president of Iraq. Not the top guy. That's still Ahmed Hassan al-Bakr, an old man who likes naps more than power, but you're close enough to smell it. For the next 11 years, you play the loyal deputy. In 1972, you did something the West hated but Iraqis loved. You nationalized the oil industry. Previously British-owned, now it was yours. Money flooded Baghdad like Tigris water. You launched bread and circuses mode. Iraqis suddenly had free healthcare, free education, even televisions in every peasant home. You became the Middle East's progressive icon. You kiss babies, give speeches about Arab unity, build schools and hospitals with your name on them. Behind the scenes, you're putting Tikrit boys in every ministry, every military unit, every newspaper office. You know where everyone's secrets are buried because you helped dig the graves. You start noticing something about yourself. You don't sleep much, 3-4 hours a night. You pace your office at 3 a.m., replaying conversations, looking for signs of disloyalty. When your doctor tells you to relax, you have him arrested for spreading defeatist propaganda. You're not paranoid, you're vigilant. By 1979, al-Bakr is sick, tired, and surrounded by your people. He resigns for health reasons. You become president of Iraq. Your first act is to call a meeting of the Revolutionary Command Council. 300 senior Ba'ath members gather in a hall. You stand on stage, reading from a list. Mohammed Ayesh, Israeli spy. Mahmoud Daoud, traitor to the Arab nation. As you read each name, armed guards drag the accused out. The room fills with gunshots, long rhythmic bursts like applause. You keep reading. 66 names, 66 executions. When you finish, you look at the survivors. They're pale, shaking. Some have pissed themselves. You smile, the warm, reassuring smile you've practiced, and say, "Now, comrades, we can begin building the new Iraq." This is who you've become. Not the hungry boy from Tikrit, not the wounded revolutionary in the desert. You're the man who can read a list while people die and make it sound like a grocery order. So now you're president, but that's not enough. You need to be legendary. You commission 81 statues of yourself all over Baghdad, bronze monsters 20 feet tall. You make school kids chant your name before class. You build many palaces, each one more ridiculous than the last. Gold toilets, marble walls imported from Italy, lakes filled with fish flown in from the Persian Gulf. One palace has a private zoo with lions and cheetahs. Another has a hospital wing just for you, with German doctors on call 24/7. While regular Iraqis are standing in line for bread rations, you're bathing in rose water and drinking 1957 Chateau Margaux. You collect 600 designer suits and never wear the same one twice. You have tailors who do nothing but adjust your cuffs. You tell yourself, this project's strength. A leader must look powerful. The silk sheets and the teenage girls brought to your bedroom, that's just stress management for the nation. Your elder son, Uday, was a walking disaster, driving Lamborghinis to kidnap women, imprisoning the national soccer team for whipping. You were both exasperated and indulgent. He was your violent mirror. At a party after he killed a chef you liked, you personally shot his leg. Family holidays at your house apparently involved shooting each other. 1980. You're 43 and you make your first huge mistake. Iran just had their revolution, chaos, their army falling apart. You think, easy pickings. You invade, expecting a quick win. Instead, you get 8 years of meat grinder, 1 million dead. Your economy in ruins. Your son Uday gets shot in the leg, survives, but comes back more psycho than before. And you? You use chemical weapons at Halabja. 5,000 Kurds, women and kids gassed in their sleep. Later you deny it, then blame Iran, then say they were all spies. You start believing your own lies. The war ends in 88. No winner, just exhaustion. You declare victory anyway. You stopped the Persian tide, saved the Arab world. People believe you because they need to believe in something, and you're the only show in town. Your economy is wrecked, your army depleted, but your grip on power is iron. You learn that fear works better than money. A rich citizen might donate to the opposition. A terrified citizen rats out his own brother to stay alive. By 89, you're convinced you're immortal. You read about ancient kings who ruled 60 years. You visit Babylon, stand where Nebuchadnezzar stood. You are the new Gilgamesh. The fact that Gilgamesh was mythical? Details. Your doctors give you vitality treatments, basically vitamins and speed, but they tell you it's secret ancient medicine. You believe them. You believe everything now as long as it confirms you're special. 1990. You're 53 and you make your second catastrophic mistake. Kuwait. Little Kuwait, sitting on oil you think should be yours. They're slant drilling into your fields. You call it theft. You invade anyway. 6 hours, Kuwait falls. You declare it Iraq's 19th province. You think America cares more about stable oil prices than some tiny emirate. You think wrong. Operation Desert Storm. 40 days of bombing. Your palaces, those ridiculous palaces, turn into craters. Your army, fourth largest in the world, melts like ice cream in August. You retreat, but not before you set fire to 700 oil wells. The sky turns black for 9 months. Sanctions hit hard. No medicine, no food. Children starve in hospitals. You don't care enough to resign. You use the suffering as propaganda. Look what the Americans are doing. You embezzle billions through oil for food, building more palaces while your people eat grass. And now, the weird part. You start writing novels. Zabiba and the King. A romance where the king is clearly you, Zabiba is Iraq. And there's this metaphor about rape being love. Critics call it a masterpiece. They have to. The alternative is a windowless room with a guy holding pliers. By 2003, you're not sleeping. You rotate between palaces, have 6 body doubles, taste your food 3 times. You're convinced you're immortal. America comes for you properly. Tanks, soldiers, the whole invasion. Your army collapses in 3 weeks. Turns out, soldiers who fear their own officers more than the enemy don't fight hard. Who knew? You go underground. A hole near Tikrit. 2 meters deep, styrofoam lid covered in dirt. 8 months of canned tuna, listening to American patrols overhead, shitting in a bucket. You have $750,000 in cash and a pistol. Was it worth it? You pushed the thought away. Of course it was. You were important. December 13th, 2003. They find you. An informant, probably your own bodyguard, gives up the location. American soldiers dig up the lid, drag you out. You look like a wild animal, beard matted, hair gray, eyes hollow. You have a pistol, but you don't use it. Part of you wants to go out shooting, but a bigger part is just tired. They take the famous photo. You on a cot, looking confused and small. The butcher of Baghdad captured. You hate that photo. Not because it shows you weak, but because it proves you were never special. Just a guy in a hole, smelling bad. December 30th, 2006. Dawn. They come for you with handcuffs. You know it's coming, but your hands still shake. They take you to a room with a gallows. No crowd, no spectacle. Just a few officials, a few guards, and the rope. They ask if you have last words. You consider saying something profound, about Arab unity, about resisting imperialism. Instead, you shout, "Long live Iraq, long live the Arab nation." It's not profound. It's reflex. It's the only thing you know how to do. The trap door opens. You fall. The rope snaps tight. Your neck breaks. Clean, professional. Unlike so many of the deaths you caused, you don't suffer. You don't get to suffer. Your body twitches a few times, then hangs still. Someone films it on a phone. Within hours, it's online. Your tongue out, eyes bulging, body swinging like a gruesome pendulum. And that's it. The end of Saddam Hussein. You don't get to see what comes next. The civil war. ISIS rising from the chaos you helped create. The million dead. You don't get to see the historians argue about whether you were a monster or just a product of your time. A man who learned early that cruelty was the only currency that never devalued.